Alright, so we actually heard all lecture Jean's explanations on the how to implement learning and cultivating, teaching, and propagation and practicing of the Tao. So now he says, I'm continuing the same. It's the same class. It's just a part 2 of it. So to learn Tao, we must learn 3 words, and these 3 words are very, very important. Yeah, right. So these 3 words are respect, honesty, and gratitude. Now, as parents, these are things that we have to teach the children. And if you don't have those 3 things,
are we on a different slide?
no. Yeah, it's the same slide. Oh.
The 3 words are not the same. Are we on a different slide right now?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is. Okay. This one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So let's speak about respect. So respect simply means as an example of virtuous people. Who are virtuous people? Like the Buddhas, of course, and then a parent should be virtuous, because if the parent is not, then the children will definitely not be virtuous. Right? That first we must respect heaven and earth, and respect saints and Buddhas, sages, by following their teaching. So we are learning all these things from the Buddhas, because see, like all these books were written by the Buddhas and translated in different languages by the people in authority. So we have to follow heaven and earth, the saints and the Buddhas. So respect all virtuous and worthy people, such as seniors in the temple, and they have the experience and knowledge about the Tao. So it's so important. So when we get here, that we have to listen to the seniors. The seniors have the experience. That's why we have like a protocol so we can follow. So the transmitter and lecturers and things like that. So we listen to them, and we have to give them the respect, because they have the knowledge about how to explain the Tao and teach us about the Tao, and explain the teachings better to us from the Buddhas and saints. Alright, we can all learn from them. Sometimes we may see more faults in them, but if we see a fault, because sometimes we are human beings, we make a mistake, we mispronounce something or misquote something, we should not dwell on that to say, oh look, so and so. We don't do that, because we are human and we are all subject to making mistakes. So however, they are all still humans and have the same focus to their point and more. So again, respect is very important, and if we don't respect the saints and Buddhas, and follow their words and follow our seniors in the temple, is naturally that our children will not do the same to us. So the next word is honesty. Honesty is, everyone heard the term before. Honesty is the best policy. So don't mind what happened. Like, it's important, if you're going to get in trouble, speak the truth anyway. Honesty is definitely the best policy. We must be sincere to the Tao and truthful to everything we say. So we should not say things that are not true. So if we are the ones who are coming to the temple and we would like to go out to get others to come to the temple, we have to say the correct things. Because if I go out and I tell this young man here, oh, the Tao is so and so, and everything I said is not true, because I figured this is what he wants to hear. When he comes to the temple, he's going to hear the truth, then he's going to look at me in a different way. So it's important that we speak the truth all the time. Then especially our thoughts, action, and our words should be all one. Whether we teach others, we see in our actions and our words and will believe in the Tao. So again, being honest is always the best thing to do. So once we're honest, then we will be able to transcend that sort of information better to those who we are trying to get to come to the temple. So the next word is gratitude, right? Gratitude is basically being grateful. So, like this morning we had a conversation about the children, and people don't say thank you for something anymore. And most times the people say, I want, and nobody understand the right things to say. So having this gratitude, we always be grateful to the grace of heaven, the virtues of the masters, and for us to have received this Tao today. If we did not, all of us here today, if we did not receive the Tao, could you envision where and what you would have been today? I'm sure we all would have been a little different. Okay? Be grateful for introducer or guarantor. So my question is, do everybody here know who or the names of their introducer and the guarantor? You know your introducer and your guarantor. It's very, very important.
The people invite you with Alma.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Without them, we cannot receive the Tao, and be grateful to all those that had helped us in our daily lives. Right? They are not required to help us, but they do it from the kindness of their hearts to help us. So we must always be grateful. So in this morning's lecture, Jane spoke about the golden thread, and in that golden thread, our introducer and our guarantors were listed in there. So they are very important, because without them we would not have been in the Tao today. Because we cannot just walk into the temple and say, oh, I would like to receive the blessing. Okay? Yes. Okay? So then another 3 most feared words in teaching the Tao. Okay?
Raise the screen.
Right. Okay, so 3 feared words, right? Blindness. Blindness is not really, you can't see. Okay? So blindness, vagueness, and busyness or haste. So blindness is basically to say that we do not teach blindly. So we have to know what we are teaching, because if you're teaching, let's say, something simple, and you're teaching the person to boil rice, and you did not tell the person how to put, what is the steps to take, naturally then you will be getting something else. So that's a simple explanation. So we cannot teach blindly. We cannot we have to make sure that we know the material before we can teach it. If we do not understand something, we must ask seniors to research from the Tao books to be clearer before we can teach others. Otherwise, we will be teaching them the wrong material. So, like I said earlier, it's not that you cannot see, it's just the way that you're teaching what we're teaching that we have to understand. And so again, why it's so important for us to come to the temple when we don't understand something, when there are people here, we must ask. And asking question is one of the biggest part of life or learning, by asking questions. Then it will be blind learning or leading the blind. I'm sure you have heard that saying before. The blind leading the blind. So we have to know what we are saying, right? So when we go out and we are teaching people or speaking to others about the Tao, we have to know exactly what we are saying. If we don't know or understand something, try not to mention it so we don't give incorrect information. So vagueness or confuse about things, right? When we teach, we must clearly and distinctly explain the principles so that others can understand it, not to cause confusion in the class. We can use examples of stories to clarify. Worst thing we can do is to cause confusion to others. So again, going back to the blindness, if we give wrong information and that person or persons are confused, then they're not going to come back to the temple, and it will be very difficult for that person to become an introducer to someone else. So busyness or always like haste. So you're doing things out of haste. When you're doing things out of haste, most times we're not thinking properly because we're rushing things. So we have to be very careful. So mistakes, we are prone to make mistakes when we are too busy. We should not teach by rushing through the principles to make mistakes. Teach with patience and understanding, especially when we are under a stressful situation. Now, yes, we can be, because when we are doing, sometimes not everyone is a natural speaker, so you're under stress. So we have to, you take your time and say what you say. Even just speaking to someone, we have to take our time and speak so the person can understand what we are saying.
And think before we speak.
Yeah.
Filter through our mind first. If it's going to offend somebody, don't speak. If it's going to hurt somebody or insult somebody, don't speak. They will cause bad comments.
Right. So calm our hearts and mind before teaching, even if the same questions were asked several times from the same person. It's okay. Everyone can learn differently. We must be patient with everyone. So, like it says, if the same question is asked several times, we just have to be calm, because the reason why a question is asked more than one time is because naturally the person did not understand, so they ask again. Maybe they are not even conscious of the fact that they asked that question before. Alright? So we have to be calm and listen and answer the question, and we should never say, I can't answer that question right now, later. We should ask, because maybe that question is such an important question at that time for that person. Right. Okay, to propagate Tao, Holy Teacher says, to propagate Tao must learn 3 words. Okay, so remember, propagation is what we are doing, right? We are trying to propagate when we go out to speak to other people. So this is how we propagate Tao. So these 3 words that we have to say, right? So these 3 words are motive, right? Timidity and deception.
You didn't cover the top one. The compassion, attraction, and fear.
Yeah, fear. Right. Yes. Thank you. So most 3 words are compassion, attraction, and manage, control. Okay. Right. So the first one is compassion or mercifulness. So I'm sure everyone here are compassionate to someone, right? So our mission to propagate Tao is to save sentient beings, so everyone can help to change to transcend from the cycle of reincarnation. I'm sure all of us here would like to leave this earth and go up and never come back, right? Because the earth is not, as it is, it's not a good place. So we don't want to come back, all right? So we need to do all these little good things so that we could, transcend and never come back. By doing so, we show our compassion and mercifulness to all sentient beings, just like the goddess of mercy, right? Guan Yin, Bodhisattva, who is very famous for her great compassion, right? So all those of us who know about her is that she went through so much and she never complained one time. She just bared her burden, and that's why she is such a revered person when it comes to compassion. So the next word is attraction. Okay, so in propagation of the Tao, we have to think of a way to attract people to come to us to receive the Tao. So attraction is basically the way we carry ourselves. If we are not behaving properly outside, it's very difficult for someone to listen to us when we are trying to speak to them to come to the temple. They would say, why am I going to the temple? And he or she is like this. So we have to be very careful with our cultivation inside the temple or cultivation outside the temple. So we have this good character, or we'll be able to attract more people. So each one of us have our own individual personalities. We have to use our own charm and attraction. Example, put on a warm smile, not a fake smile. Now most people does that all the time. Like, why have a fake smile? So we are humans, we are not animals. Like if you know what a coyote is, you see a coyote, like it's always smiling. It's smiling because the coyote is saying, look, there's food, right? So we need to be able to give a nice, genuine, warm smile. So, and it will not hurt you, right? People can see right through us when we talk to others. Use the sincerity of our heart to attract them. You will be surprised with great results you can achieve. So that smile, yes, sir.
Do you want me to say questions for you?
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I just want, if people who would say that they don't want to return to this state to live life again,
Yeah.
Basically it would be people who have had a really tough, hard life. But what about the people who have had a charmed life and have had so many pleasant, beautiful memories and really enjoyed this life? Some of them might say, I could do this over again.
No, but heaven is even better.
Yeah.
They don't know that. They just deal with what they know.
Well,
They know what this.
Their fortune will run out someday.
yeah,
It doesn't last
yeah,
eternally.
yeah.
Because everything in this realm is relative.
Yeah.
It may work great now, eventually that good fortune will run out.
Or we have created the karma.
You see, good fortune is from your past life. Maybe they did well. But there's no guarantee that you're going to have good fortune forever. Okay? Forever means next life, and the next life, and the next life. So your good fortune is
it's
only
for this
amount.
life, this
It's
lifetime.
only maybe in this life, and it will run out. So your next life, you don't know what kind of a life you're going to have. Okay? So that is why the Buddha, holy teacher, says, the Tao, first we bring the people that needs the Tao first. At the end, we bring the people that are very fortunate later because they're not that willing to receive.
Exactly.
So we bring the people that are less fortunate first, okay? That is struggling in life. They're much easier to receive the Tao.
Yeah.
And then later on we work on the more fortunate people.
So it's
Yeah.
wrong for me to think, because the older I get, the more I say no, I could start to go being a child again and become a child again.
Yeah.
Because I realize that we're closer to the end.
Yeah.
And I always think, oh, I could start moving.
You want to start?
Well,
Yeah,
well,
I think that way
What-
because you know, I've had a good life,
What-
I've had so many nice experiences.
Okay.
I could be all over
Okay.
again.
Now you have a good life. You're in human form. There's no guarantee in the
I
next time
understand,
you're
yeah.
going to be in
Yeah.
human form. Only people with human form can receive the Tao.
Mhm.
Okay. Animals cannot receive the Tao. Only in human form. So we don't know. Okay. Only karmas can lead us to whatever we will reward us. We don't know.
yeah, yes,
The thing is that, like the bodhisattvas, like the Buddhas, they chose to come back, to stay until the end, because they say that one person suffering, we're all suffering, until the last person that's suffering. So may have had a good life, but there is suffering, and we don't even know the depth because the suffering can go really, really.
You know,
Yeah.
just,
You would not want to
just
be.
birth, aging,
like-
sickness, and death is suffering.
yeah.
Yeah, but
But-
then it can also be, you know, I mean,
There's
look
many
around.
sufferings.
You could get
There's
even.
But you, yeah,
As
what
it
you said
goes.
is true. But you have to remember that they were so good here on earth, and then they went up, and
Yes.
because they thought, well, they see suffering
Yes.
still here, and then they made vows to come back to finish
because
things that they. So it's not that they had a good life, because
Right.
they lived.
They had the
the-
perfect life,
right.
okay?
See,
One, Sakyamuni Buddha was a prince,
Yeah.
okay? Guanyin Bodhisattva was a princess. But from a very early age, okay, they don't want to see birth, aging, sickness, death. This is for suffering. It's enough for them to say, hey, I don't want this life. I want to cultivate myself to transcend, okay? So they transcend life. Okay, so even prince and princesses don't want to come back. I don't know why you want to.
It's
Uh,
got artwork to do.
It's got
Okay.
artwork. You can do artwork.
yeah,
in
but
heaven.
you see, what you have to remember, there can be no attachments. Right, so that's what you're saying. You have been attached. Those
You
Buddhas
have to
and
let go of
saints,
your artwork.
they didn't have any
And-
attachment at all.
Yeah.
Right? 'Cause once you have
Whether
one
it's mental,
one teeny
emotional,
bit of
or physical,
attachment,
no attachment.
that's
Whether
it.
it's children, or
Right?
family,
Can't have
or
any
anything.
Because you're
detachment.
right, because I'm very aware that I have unfinished business.
Right, but you
And
see,
I need to try.
but
You
if you
can
are,
be good in heaven.
but
It's even better.
that could
That's
be a
absolutely
karma.
right.
So you have to rethink that thought. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Alright.
Okay.
So just think of
And don't
what's
have
the
that thought. I want to come
the-
back. Then
yeah.
you're going to come back.
see
Do not have that thought.
see
Let go.
what's the Buddha, the one in hell again? What's his name again?
Who?
The one who's in the underworld.
Oh, Siddhigarbha.
Sitigaba, right? Remember, you can imagine that you gonna go and ask God you would like to go to the underworld, and you will not be a Buddha unless no one is in heaven anymore. No, that is a vow that is more than great. Yeah, so things like that. So he didn't have any attachments, but he just don't want to see people suffer anymore, right? And most people who live in this nice life and so forth, they don't want to receive the Tao because they're thinking about, okay, I have this, and they need a little bit more of this, a little more of that. So that's why they don't receive the Tao. Okay, so you have to have and live a frugal life, and then you have all this merit and virtues because you're doing things, you're being compassionate and all this, helping people. So when you reach up, you can have a choice. But if you don't have those things in your account, then it's up to heaven what happens afterwards. Okay, so we have to propagate the Tao everywhere. So try to, yeah.
Next.
I didn't do.
Oh, you didn't finish it?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. See, so manage. Okay, so control our emotions. Now that's a very difficult thing to do. Okay, because being human and being on this earth, we are not alone. We are dealing with other humans and different elements on earth. So it's very difficult. But as a dog cultivator, we must try hard. We have to try harder to control our emotions, because when we are over emotional, it's difficult. We don't think and we do things without thoughts, and we always have to be in control of our thoughts. So the Buddha say we must manage our and control our emotions in our daily life, especially in propagating the Tao. Then we are dealing with when we are dealing with others, we have to protect our Tao, alright, image. So that means if we go out and we are behaving like normal people on the street, then we are not being a good cultivator. And if others know that we are a member of the Tao, then they would look at us and say, well, oh, they are just like everybody else. So we have to protect our Tao and our Tao community, the image of the Tao. Alright? We represent the Tao. We have to be always composed, calm, and in our mind and demeanor. If someone said something that we do not agree with, we cannot get upset and show our anger. Again, see, that's hard to do, because sometimes the things that people say to us, that it's probably, like some people say, it hit a note. So when it hit that note, the note give off a sound. That sound means that we are answering. So as a Tao cultivator, we should be able to just let it go. Like Lecture Jean spoke about the water early on. So just let it be water. So this is a cup of water, and I pour it down into a pond, or let's say a pool, and you cannot say identify it afterwards, because what? It just merges with what is there before. And say, so we have to be like that, right? And not be a volcano. A volcano is there and all of a sudden it explodes, right? So we cannot be like that. Our words must be always calm and composed, right? Okay, so we have to always compose and calm a mind. If someone said something that we do not agree with, don't get upset and show our anger. Whatever negative or emotions we may have, we must hold it inside and tolerate it, just like Happy Buddha does with the magnanimous tolerance. So somebody asked one time, why this Buddha is a vegetarian and why his belly so big? Right? Because yeah, so because you'll figure, like, if he's such a thing that he should, and he's not eating all those junk and so forth. But it's not that. You see, is the tolerance that he has, that he's taking away everything from everybody else. So his stomach only representing his level of tolerance. Alright? But then it's hard to explain that to somebody who don't understand this Tao. Okay? Alright. So
to the three negative ones here. The bottom. Motive.
yeah,
timidity.
okay, yeah. Right, yeah, I didn't do the bottom. So there are three words that are most feared, right, in the propagation of Tao. These three words are motive, timidity, and deception. Okay? So motive, selfishness, and ego. Now that is something that us humans have to deal with a lot. So ego is something that everybody has. Sometimes it causes us or puts us in situation that we didn't really want to be in. So we have to let that go. And ego is one of the three poisons. So we have to let that go. Okay? So there should not be any personal motivation in propagating Tao by selfish reason or allowing our ego to get in our way. Example, I'm propagating Tao to earn merit, or I want to get as many people as I can, so my Dharma boat is all full when we return to heaven, or I'm doing it so that I can be their introducer. Now that's just ego. Okay, we are not supposed to be doing things because we want something.
There should not be a motive
Right?
behind it.
Shouldn't be any motive. See, we should do everything that we do should be done from our heart, and when it's done, we should leave it alone, let it go, and don't keep saying, "Oh, I did this," or "I did this." It don't work like that. So those, I'm not quite sure, but I think if we do things like that, let's say if the merit was 100, we are only getting 50%. I'm not quite sure. So if I'm
Now,
wrong,
if there is a motive behind whatever you do, whatever good deeds, there will be
no merit. Okay.
Okay, the Buddha said that. When there is a motive, or you think of it as a good deed, there will not be any choice for you. Don't even think that I'm doing a good deed. Just do it naturally. Don't think.
Okay. So now don't get it wrong. Now when I say now the only motive we should have is to help
Heaven. Yeah.
heaven.
And
Okay.
teaching deeds.
But it's not like it's a different type of motive, but the word is just used to explain what it means. Or I'll put it a different way. Our duty should just be to help heaven.
Let's
So
say you're mopping floors. You don't say, "Oh, gee, this is a good deed. I'm doing a good deed." Don't even think about it.
No.
Once you think about it, no merits, zero. So when you go back, you have zero merit. But when you do it, I'm cleaning because I want the temple to be
Yeah.
clean. Then that's good, okay?
or like there's a term that we use, don't brown nose, right? Because heaven is seeing what we do. So if we have to mop the floor, don't mop the floor and looking to see
Yes.
the
And
trans.
why am I
Everybody's
doing it?
watching,
Everybody is chit-chatting.
right? We don't.
Then
You-
it's also zero.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about who in the temple is watching you. Heaven is already seeing what we're doing, and that's the only thing that is important. What heaven is seeing us do, right? So timidity, or dread, fears, right? Okay, so what is this? The Tao propagation, we cannot be shy, dread, or fear of talking to strangers to receive the Tao. Now, if we are gonna speak to somebody, always remember this. This is different to say, "Oh, you just seen lecture Gene and you wanna go up to speak to her." That's different. But if you're gonna speak to that person about the Tao, there should be no fear. Alright? Because there is something like a magnetized sort of attraction to say, pull you to that person to say, this person have some affinity, speak to this person. There's always somebody guiding when we have to speak to somebody about. I'm sure most of you are, let's say, in a meeting or just sitting in a crowd of people and you don't speak to anybody about the Tao because the guide is not there. Right? There's no affinity. We can feel it. Okay? But there are times when you are with people and you are changing the conversation because you want to speak to that person about the Tao. Did it ever happen to any one of you like that? Yeah, it happens like that.
What
Okay.
happens too is when you have the affinity and you start to speak, the Buddhas help you. They put the right words in
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. They help you. Yeah. Because the Buddhas are always there to help you when you propagate the Tao. Okay. So that's why I'm a very shy person. Even standing up there, I'm totally shy. But I gotta do what I have to do. Okay? So we all have that responsibility to propagate the Tao. So we cannot let shyness or fear of talking to strangers hold us back. You gotta have thick skin. Okay, just push yourself.
Yeah.
And after a while, you get into the natural thing. Okay.
Right. So transmitter law is someone that we should follow in Tao propagation. Everyone know who transmitter law is, right?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Now, I'm telling you, when the restaurant was downstairs, and I down there, she serving, and there are lots of people, and she would not speak to some people. But some people, she's just. Sometimes I used to think, well, wow, she's brave. She just goes up and she starts speaking. First, she's always carrying a book to them, and start speaking about the Tao to people. So she is a good person for us to follow when it comes to propagation of the Tao, right? We say her skin is thick, and she is not afraid of approaching a total stranger, even if she gets turned down. It doesn't discourage her, or she'll move on to the next person. And I've seen that. So this is a very good description. Okay. Our holy teacher told us that she has legs of a rabbit and thick skin. That is how we should be. Move at a fast speed, and do not let our timidity and fear get in the best of us. No, that part I never heard, but I like that.
You never heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Right.
holy teacher said that.
Yeah.
That she has the legs
yeah.
of a rabbit and a thick
Yeah.
skin.
Yeah.
So wherever she propagates, the teacher will be right there.
Yeah. That is really good. That's a great compliment. Yeah.
Even if somebody gets upset with her for talking to her,
Yeah.
just
She. Yeah.
keep that smile on.
Yeah.
and walk away.
So if we are shy and afraid to approach people, then we can never propagate the Tao, even if they do not agree to receive the Tao. At least we have planted a seed for the future. Always open our mouth when opportunity arises. Okay. So
However, when we open our mouth, get to the point. Don't
Yeah.
talk about the people have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't talk in circles. The people will be standing there for 15 minutes. They lose interest. They have no interest. You get to the point.
right, deception, or do not be hypocritical or shame. Well, we cannot deceive others in any situation, then there will never be trust again. We must be sincere in our words, our actions, and our thoughts. Deception can only cause doubt and suspicion in other people's mind. When their thoughts arise, they will not agree to receive the Tao. So speak the truth, alright, and just be as simple as possible and direct and to the point. And this way, it's easier for others so we could get people in the temple. Alright. So to practice Tao, we must learn 3 words: refinement, clarity, and kingship. Now, I'm sure most people had those words for growing up and in school. So, clarity, motivation, deception. Right. So, refinement is the first one. I got lost on my page. Okay, so refinement as continuous diligence and progress. We practice what we learn in our daily life to improve and refine ourselves. This is how we can step by step make continuous diligent progress in our cultivation. Just like jade and diamond. Okay? When they are in their new state, they are not attractive. After they have been cut, chiseled, and smooth, they are as perfect. They are in a perfect state, beautiful and shiny. We are now in the raw state like jade and diamond. We need to be refined and become a virtuous and worthy person like the saints and sages. Alright, clarity. We have to be clear and understanding and practice of the Tao, and keep our heart and mind to remain pure, calm and still at all times. View and deal with all matters with clarity and with an open mind like a child. So when we receive the Tao, remember that we speak about that we have to be like a child. And those of you who are exposed to religion, he says, who could go back to heaven? Say, first of all, you have a heart and mind like a child, otherwise we can't go back. So, and there's a song that says, childlike mean, right? That's how it says, Jean?
I don't remember.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Sorry.
Yes, that's okay. So, kingship. We have to get along with everyone for us to come across with each other in the lifetime. Means that we all have to have an affinity from the past. We must all have compatible with each other. So if we don't have affinity, it's very simple that most of the times that you will not have that contact or will not meet that person. So once that affinity is there, it's likely that you'll come across that person. So practice the Tao to get along with everyone, to have peace and harmony in this world. Buddha says, to cultivate heaven's Tao, we have to start with humanity. We practice Tao within our family, workplace, society. If someone is depressed, or if someone stop coming to the temple, we help them with love, understanding, and kindness to say, so they will get back up and not deviate from the Tao. So when we are not seeing the people who we are introduced as our guarantors for, we have to use love and logic to get them back into the temple. So, most feared 3 words in practicing Tao. So these words are pretenses, pride, and rudeness. So any form of pretense in our practice of the Tao will likely cause argument. We must be true to our words, true to our action, and true to our thoughts. Pretense will cause others not to trust us and not to trust the Tao. Therefore, we must be mindful of at all times that what we say and what we do, we must be true and in ourselves, true to our conscience. And pride or arrogance. In the practice of Tao, we cannot and should not let our pride get in the way. It will show that we are egotistic and arrogant. People do not want to be with an arrogant person or people. Be very mindful that we are not like that. Let go of all our egos and our I, because they're saying there's no I, right? It's always we, right? So rudeness, as a child, as we cultivate in the practice of Tao, we have to be kind and friendly to everyone. We are made to people, and in disrespecting them and disrespecting them is also disrespecting their Buddha nature. We have to always think of others before we think of ourselves. We cannot neglect and ignore others' feelings. Rudeness will also cause karma. Lecturer Lu said in the Buddha nature class, use our true heart in our attraction with others and not our physical body. That means no matter whether they are good looking or not, it should not affect the way we treat them. Yeah. Okay. So time ran out, and there's a section of this class that I really wanted to go over so we could explain from the questions we had last time about the vows that we are taking and so forth. What does it mean and so forth. So hopefully that we can have, even though we don't do the whole thing over, that we could more or less discuss it, so you'll have a better understanding of what those vows that you took is all about. Alright? So, and time is up. If I said anything or made any mistakes that is not true, or I hope I did not offend anyone, but if I do, I ask heaven and the Buddhas and saints for forgiveness and yourself. Thank you.